Good morning, Miss Jamila. How are you?
I am very well. Good morning to you, Miss Katz. Excited to
Thank
be here
you.
again with our.
Yes, I'm so happy to have you back and for us to be able to talk about a new and exciting topic. But
Yeah.
before we dive in, I just want to share really quickly that I'm a personal trainer. I am a health coach. I work with clients in Los Angeles and I also work with clients online. In addition to that, I also model in Los Angeles. What about you,
Fantastic.
Jamila?
Thank you so much for sharing that. So, I'm a total wellness coach as well. This is how we have this common ground. I do virtual fitness plans, nutrition plans, meal plans. I'm a speaker, author, and a mom of five. So, a little bit about me.
I love it. I love
Yeah.
it. I always love talking to you so much. The topic I think that would be really, really interesting for people to hear about is body image. And
Mm-hmm.
before we jump into that, can I just say that when I checked the scale last night, that I was 6.5 pounds heavier than when I woke up.
And how did that make you feel?
I'm so glad you asked. Well, I don't want to tell you the expletives that came out of my mouth when I saw it. But listen, it was more like, hey, Kat, you better check yourself right now. You kind of went a little ham this weekend. Like
Mm-hmm.
literally, I had bacon, but also I had all the things. It, Jamila, I don't know if you can relate to this. I think you can, but you tell me. Sometimes you just have a weekend where it's like you're doing the best you can. It's so much, you're so overwhelmed that you try to make really great food decisions, but it's like, you know what? Sorry, guys, I'm in survival mode. I am going to have those salty eggs. I am going to have the bacon. I am going to have a massive bowl of ramen. Go ahead and throw extra pork on there for me, fried chicken. I literally I went a little nuts, and it was because I had other things that took a priority. And I also knew that it was just going to be for just a moment. It was just going to be for the weekend and I was going to clean it up, and I already am.
That's it. And I think that's the thing. I hear you. I definitely have. Girl, listen. We can preach all we can preach. You need to have a plan, and which I believe. I agree with that. I think it's true, but life happens and sometimes we just don't have time or we don't plan like we want to. But I think the thing is, I read something yesterday on Instagram and said, in a nutshell, like discipline is not perfection. Discipline is okay, if I did fall off the track a little bit or I fell off track a little bit, I'm immediately getting back on track as soon as possible. That's discipline. That's where
Yes, never miss twice.
never miss twice. That's it. It's not perfection.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
not perfection. So
Perfection doesn't even exist.
it doesn't at all. Progress. Progress exists.
Mm,
And yeah,
you're 100% right.
that scale can mess us
Yeah,
up sometimes.
I had some feelings about the scale, and the thing is, like, the scale can be your friend or it can be your enemy.
Oh yeah.
And as it relates to body image, it's like we can make the number on the scale
Yeah.
make us think about ourselves in a different way. We can make it define who we are, like whether we're good or bad. And
Mhm.
when I saw it last night, I didn't think like, Kat, you're bad. I thought, okay, there is a consequence to every single choice that we make. And
That's it.
when you ate X, Y, and Z, and when you did a massive workout, strength and hit focused workout that caused, overall systemic inflammation in the body, and you're retaining extra water, plus you ate all the sodium on top of that, plus you went carb heavy. Yeah, girl, you already know from experience you can gain up to 8 pounds. I was up 6.5 pounds
Yeah.
last night. I already dropped 4 of those pounds. So it's like, am I seriously peeing out 4 pounds in the middle of the night? Because, yeah,
Right.
full disclosure, I do pee a lot. I get up, I pee, I go right back to sleep. But,
Mhm.
and maybe that's TMI, but I feel like
I don't know.
people talk about fluctuating weight a lot, and I can fluctuate anywhere from 2 to 8 pounds in a day, depending on a lot of different factors. What about you?
Yeah, I fluctuate a lot. And I think that's the thing. Like, the scale is never linear. It's never going to be all, just this straight line. It's always going to kind of look like this.
Mhm.
You better be at peace about it because, well, I don't want to say that sounds rude. You better be at peace about it. But,
I know what you mean.
you know,
Otherwise you're going to let it hurt you.
you're going to, and it's going to distract you and you're going to feel like frustrated. And I'm like, the scale is just one side of it. And so,
Yeah.
yes, fluctuations happen, especially during my cycle. And I
Mm.
feel probably most women experience that. So I'm always like, don't freak out. If it's that time of month and you see 2 to 3 pounds of additional weight, that's normal. It's okay. But yeah, absolutely. And it's important if you're going to weigh yourself first thing in the morning before you eat, after you go to the bathroom, every
Yes.
single day if you want to kind of gauge it because your weight definitely is going to fluctuate throughout the day after you've ate. And I'm like,
Yes.
here's the thing. Sometimes I mindfully eat a cookie if I want it.
Mhm.
I do it very mindfully because I'm like, I want this chocolate chip cookie. So, and I think that's okay if you're mindfully doing it. But like you said, it's about progress, not perfection. Get back on
Ye
track,
Yes.
drop all that weight because it's probably a lot of water weight anyways from all the
It's
sodium and all that.
And full disclosure, I know it's not 6.5 pounds of fat that just magically appeared overnight. Like, I know that. And I think most people listening, they understand that. But if you also think about it, no matter what that weight is, it's still weight and it's hard on my joints and it
Mhm.
makes me puffy. I woke up this morning and it's like this eye was so puffy underneath because I also sleep on my side. And it's
Right.
like it almost looks like I got punched in my face. My whole face gets swollen. And then I'm just like, I can literally feel it. It's hard on my body. And so it's
Yeah.
like, okay, what? You made a decision, but it's also okay
Yeah.
and you know exactly what you need to do. So I've been drinking more water, eating healthy foods as normal, already had my breakfast. And I mean, just talking about it with you makes me feel better. I think when people make up stories in their head about, oh my God, if I'm gaining this amount of weight in a day, like this must mean I'm doing something wrong. I'm not achieving the goals I'm supposed to achieve. Do you know what I mean?
Absolutely. And I think that's the thing. I like what you said. We can do two things. We can get on the scale and get frustrated and have this all or nothing mindset like, well, I gained 6.5 pounds. I guess I might as well just go out to eat every day, eat the chips, eat the cookies, or I gained 6.5 pounds. Okay, girl, get it together. You had your fun this
Yes.
weekend. Now let me go
Yes.
and do what I need to do for my body. There's two ways we can look at it. And I feel like a lot of people, unfortunately, fall on the all or nothing side. Unfortunately, they don't push through and they give up. I've done it before.
I was
Uh,
just about to say, you're talking to somebody who's done it so many times.
yeah. Yeah. So the question, I'm curious, what is the thing that you feel helped you be more consistent when you were going through this all or nothing phase?
Hmm. Honestly, the first thing that pops into my mind is all the years of therapy that I've had. I
Mm,
feel like even though I never went to therapy for, body image, I went for other things that were, uh, now I got to take a moment and pause because this is going to get deep.
yeah. Hey, we're here for it. We love the
I've had
real.
a Yeah, it's gonna be nothing but real here.
Yeah.
So with my therapist, I've had several different therapists, and um, there's a consistent theme in my therapy. They're like, Kat, the all or nothing, the black and white, like that doesn't work. Let's
Mm,
try to find something more in that gray zone because that's a healthier existence. It's a healthier mindset. That's what we're trying to cultivate here. And so I guess I've just tried to apply that to all areas of my life, including, reaching my own health and fitness goals. And when I got very serious about making a change in my life, about losing some fat and getting stronger, exactly 10 years ago, funny
Mm,
enough. I decided that I wasn't going to make the scale mean that I was a bad person. There was something in my heart and in my mind that knew that was also wrong, and that wouldn't be helpful. Not so much wrong, but that wouldn't be helpful. So
yeah,
to answer your question, I guess, yeah, therapy.
that's it.
I'm going to ask the same question to you, because you also shared that, you've had moments in your life where you were kind of in that all or nothing mindset. Do you remember distinctly if there was anything that happened in your life that helped you to change that, or was it very gradual?
That's such a good question. And I think for me it was more gradual. I have moments. I always talk about my granddad. This when I was 12 years old, I went on this long walk with him because he was an example of fitness. He walked every single day, all seasons, winter, spring, summer, fall. And so when he would visit us every summer, he would walk also. And I remember one day I was like, "Can I go on a walk with you, granddaddy?" But I didn't think anything of it because he's 60 years old at the 60-ish. And I was like, oh, he's not gonna be able to hang because I mean he's old. So clearly
Oh,
it'll just be like a really easy walk. And baby, I thought I was gonna die. I mean, because I walked and walked and walked and walked for like 2.5 hours with him. And it was in Texas in the summer. And that's a pivotal moment. Now I was 12 years old. Obviously, I wasn't like, I want to be fit, personal health coach, but it was a seed that was definitely sown. And so throughout my life, I always was very health conscious. And I give my parents and I give my granddad a lot of credit in that aspect. And then, of course, you have kids. And I went through lots of fluctuations with my weight. But I'll tell you, so we're talking about realness.
yes, please.
2020, I went through a divorce. I was almost married for 20 years. It was like 19 years. It was a very toxic type of situation. It was very up and down in that relationship. When I was going through making my final decision, like what am I going to do? How's this going to impact my children? I remember I was walking a lot. I was just walking a lot just to clear the air. And interestingly, I lost a lot of weight doing that.
Really?
Oh yeah. So it
Just
wasn't
walking?
just walking, just walking. And I mean, I was walking like 2 hours at a time, 2 hours a day, like 1 hour in the morning, 1 hour in the evening. I was walking a lot.
Yeah.
Interesting, right? And it was just
Yeah.
walking, but it wasn't intentionally to lose weight. But I started to notice, man, I'm feeling really good. I'm getting sunlight. So I started to incorporate more things like, let me do some strength training. And so it was like, that's when I mean very gradual. Initially, it was just more so for mentality, mental health, clearing my mind,
Mm.
trying to make sure I make the right decision. And I was walking in that process. And then I was like, I'm feeling so good. So yeah, no, it just happens kind of throughout life. Those seeds that were sown and then making these things happen. Yeah.
I love that. Thank you for sharing that. I love it. It's funny, during the pandemic, I did a ton of walking also.
Mm,
And I feel like I did it for the same reasons as you. I
yeah.
did it for mental health.
Well,
And then you get all the wonderful side effects, like possible weight loss,
yeah.
moving your circulation. In a way, it's de-stressing. And when you have less stress in the body, you can have things in your body run more optimally. And
Absolutely.
so health is a beautiful byproduct of that. And of course, the vitamin D.
Oh, yeah.
But I love that.
Yes. Yeah. So I've had to think about that. Like, Jamila, what is it? Obviously, there were also family members. I remember my family members were getting sick, diabetes, cancer. And I'm like, what are the doctors telling them to do? Are they talking about health? Are they talking about nutrition? Are they talking about fitness? And not to say that they weren't, but they weren't talking enough about it, in my opinion. And so I went through this time of like deep research. How can I help people, heal from diabetes or be proactive about their health? And I think that's another thing that really like stood out to me is how can we be healthy and feel good? And then in terms of body image, so many people that I've talked to, interestingly, a lot of my clients said the reason that they decided to change their health is because they saw a picture or they looked in the mirror.
Yes. And
Those
yes.
two things, a picture or the mirror. And I'm like, that's
Mm.
interesting. And they're like, I don't like what I see. And I always feel, I understand that you don't like what you see, but I don't want people to sit in that self-hate. It's more of that approach, like you said, I gained 6.5 pounds. Now let me figure out what I need to do to get it together. It's in a self-love aspect. You know what I mean? Does that make sense?
Yeah,
Have you experienced
it,
that?
it all 100% makes sense. And I've been thinking about this a lot, and you just started to touch on the same subject.
Yeah.
When I have a new client come to me and say, "Hey, Kat, like I want to, this is my health goal," and
Yeah.
if the why behind it has something to do with like I want to look better, or I want to get down to a number on the scale when I was fitter, or I know that I've achieved in the past, it's different than the client who says, I want to be healthy. I want to
Mm,
live a long time. I want to be able to play with my grandkids.
yes.
I want to I want to love my body. And
Mm,
I've had every type of client with every type of reasons. And I honestly, I love them all because I will say there is a difference though between the person who's just adamant about losing X amount of pounds
yep.
and then the person who just wants to be healthier and wants to feel better and wants to be stronger.
Yes. That's
Um,
yeah.
I'll just say that my whole life I've been lucky where I've been an active kid, and I grew up with a single dad
Mm,
who was a Marine. When
mm,
he got full custody of me, he was a drill sergeant. So he was
mm,
super fit, he was super disciplined, and he was super strict.
mhm,
And he was a runner. And so I
mm.
became a runner. And I have been in sports my entire life, but I definitely like throughout my 20s, like I was a hot mess and I
Yeah.
was completely inconsistent with all of my working out. And so, um, damn, just saying all of that, like put a block in my mind for a quick second because that's emotional for me to
Mm,
admit.
mm.
Um, I totally forgot where I was going with that. Do you know how sometimes you talk about something that
Yeah.
that's very like makes you vulnerable and
Oh,
then
yeah.
all of a sudden it just stops you?
And you're
That
like,
literally just happened.
yeah, that's okay. No, that's the thing though. Childhood experiences really impact us. Childhood experiences play a huge role in how we are as adults, obviously.
And how
And
we feel about how we look, right?
oh my goodness, how we, yes, especially when it comes from parents, teachers, and then right now in our generation, well, not our generation, but the younger generation, social media
Oh, 100%.
really shaping body image, how you should look. Everybody's getting, liposuction and they're getting the booty. What is it?
They're
Resu-
getting like butt implants,
butt
and
implant.
breast implants have been around for a long time, but there's always there's injectables, there's
Yeah.
Botox, there's anything that you want, it's available.
Oh, it's available. And so I think adults who have any type of influence on children, it is so important for us to be very mindful and thoughtful about how we speak to them
Yes.
because it can be detrimental to a child, how they look at themselves, how they act, what they do, especially as adults. And so I'm always very careful. My daughter, for example, my daughter is now one of my daughters, my oldest daughter, she's 20. When she went to like a typical physical with her doctor, like at 12 years old, and they do the BMI, and I'm not really a huge fan of BMI. I'm just going to put that out there.
Mm.
But that's a whole other conversation. But she did the BMI and she was like, to my 12-year-old daughter, you're overweight, or no, you're considered overweight. And I looked at this doctor like, excuse me, because my daughter is curvy. She already had breast at 12 years old and booty, right? And I'm sorry, I hope she's not sorry to put that out there. And so I was like, really? My daughter heard this and it stuck with her for a long time. She would ask me, am I overweight? Do I look fat? I'm like, no, no, you do not. You're just voluptuous in the breast and booty. And that's just how you are made, fearfully and wonderfully. And so doctors have to be careful what they say, because that
Yes,
impacted
they do.
many years, many years to say that.
Just that one comment, one sentence is
Yep.
enough to. That's incredibly frustrating for me to hear, and I'm sorry that she went through that.
Yeah.
She's not alone. I feel like there are so many of us, myself included, who
Mhm.
have felt these things. You know, I remember being told the opposite. I remember being told my breasts are too small. They look like mosquito bites. And I was like, oh my God.
Wow.
And this was coming from the only person I was supposed to trust and look up to and was supposed to protect me. And
Yeah.
it was like, here's the thing. I remember being told this when I was about 10, 11 years old, and I hadn't even quite hit puberty yet. And it's like, I'm already being criticized for my body. I was a really, really skinny kid, really
Yeah.
like lanky, really
Yeah.
lanky. But I was being criticized about my breast size and about like just looking very bony by
Mhm.
people who were supposed to love and take care of me. And I knew even back then
Mm.
that it was wrong. They
Mm.
shouldn't do that.
Mm.
I knew they shouldn't do that. But
Yeah.
it didn't also make me like build my confidence in my body image either.
Yeah.
I didn't feel like, I think it definitely hurt my self-worth,
Mhm.
but I knew that they were wrong. I
Yeah.
knew both at the same time. Does that make sense?
Yes. I love the intuition. Listen, I feel like women have strong intuition. And for you to be that age and know that's not right to say that. And I'm
Yeah.
curious, like, how do you process that at that age? And how do you, of course, therapy is huge, but how do you process that at that age? And how do you come out of that and think of yourself and look at yourself differently in spite of those things?
Well, I can tell you, I didn't really start true therapy until my 20s.
Hmm.
And I still have a therapist to this day, but I didn't do any therapy until my 20s.
Yeah.
And one way that I dealt with it as a girl who was growing up and did eventually go through puberty is I covered my body more. I wore really baggy clothes so
Mhm.
nobody could see what was going on with me.
Yeah.
And it only until I, went into high school and realized that I don't want to dress that way. I love fashion also. I love fashion. So I want to be able to wear lots of different styles of clothes. And
Mhm.
so that's when I started to, but I will say this, the way that I dealt with it when I was younger is around certain people who criticized me, I wore baggy clothes. And I
Mm.
wore baggy clothes. It wasn't until I started going to therapy, in my 20s, 30s, and now 40s, did
Yeah.
I discover, and honestly, through the health and fitness journey and changing my my mind about how I perceive myself and feeling so much more confident in my skin and in my body,
Wow.
flaws and all, do I
Yeah.
now wear whatever I want in front of whoever I want.
Listen, that's power. You
Girl,
got
I felt it right there. I felt it right then.
I had to sit back in my seat.
Sorry. I just got hot.
Listen, women need to be empowered and men too.
Yes, they
Okay.
do. Yes, men also.
You and I know you know what when just to think about initially this conversation kind of started after our last conversation and we were talking about modeling.
Yes,
You had mentioned
yes.
how modeling you started to fast more in that
Mm,
industry. And now I
mhm.
didn't model a long time. I modeled very short span. I started in middle school, and I remember my parents were always there with me. They never let me go, which is great. This agent at the time, she said, "Okay, do a spin. Do a spin." When I came to this modeling place, and I did a little spin, 8th grade, probably what is that, 13, 12, 13, well, yeah,
Yeah.
13 years
Yeah,
old.
exactly. 13.
And so I did a little spin, and she was like, "Yes, we need ethnic girls. We need ethnic girls." I was like, "Okay." And then and then she was like, she just kind of looked me up and down, which I thought it was just awkward. And she said something about my thighs. Like, you have big thighs. And I was like, "Okay." Now, I don't think I took it too personally, but I think about it every once in a while. Like, now, if I didn't have, firstly, my parents instilling a lot of positivity in me, and I didn't have that, how could that have impacted me to say she has big thighs? Now,
Seriously.
you know, and I think I will say along the way, I don't know if there's ever been a connection, but there were many years I didn't want to wear shorts.
Mm,
And even as I'm talking to you right now, I'm like, is there a connection to that? Because I never really put it as a connection. But there were many
yeah.
years I didn't want to wear shorts because I thought I had big thighs. I didn't start embracing shorts probably, honestly, until like 2019, 2020.
Are you serious?
Yeah. Shorts.
Wow.
If I had to wear a dress, it was always a midi dress, where it goes
Mhm.
past your knees.
Mhm.
And because I am a curvy girl. And so it's interesting when I reflect, and I would encourage people watching this to reflect, where are these thoughts coming from? What's the connection?
Where is it coming from?
Where's it coming from? And how can we reframe it and make sure that we're not sitting in that or even passing it down to people who are younger than us,
Oh my God, yes.
you know? So,
Yes. Now that you said that last thing and making sure that we're not passing it down to like the younger folks.
yeah.
I don't have kids yet, but I am a coach, and I am a coach of middle school girls.
Oh, yeah.
And these girls are highly impressionable and their bodies are changing. And full disclosure, I think middle school is like literally the hardest age
Mhm.
for young girls and young boys.
Oh, yeah.
Their bodies are changing. They already feel uncomfortable. I can't even imagine what it must be like to be a young person who can see everything on social media. That's like an added pressure.
Right.
And I make sure that we talk about inner beauty
Mhm.
alongside my fellow coaches. We talk about the importance of inner beauty and the difference between inner beauty and outer beauty, because there's just so much focus on in today's society on the exterior.
Yeah.
And it's like, Kat, who am I to talk? I am literally in that industry. I am in the industry of modeling. And
Yeah.
so I feel like I'm hoping by doing something like that, that I can bring out the beautiful aspects of that industry and also possibly change the minds of some people who
Yeah.
may have judgments about that industry. I never did modeling when I was young like you, so I can't
Mhm.
imagine that. But I do model now, and I do different types of modeling. I will model, as a fitness model, and then sometimes I'm a mom, and sometimes I'm a CEO, or sometimes I'm just, you know, ethnically ambiguous girl,
Yeah.
ages, whatever, 30 to 40. It's
Right.
so random and it's really, really fun. And I do want to share this because I don't know what people are thinking, but I'll share with people my reasons for wanting to model. Number one, I wanted to see if I could do it, and one of my
Mhm.
aunts planted a seed in my head saying that she thought I could do it. And my aunt
Mhm.
Renee will probably never hear this, but she planted a seed. And so I kind of wanted to see if I could go with it. And
Yeah.
correct me if I'm wrong, but haven't we made our society, like, hasn't society made us believe that like being a model is a good thing and it's like something rare that not everybody can do?
Oh yeah. I think so. And I think the industry has changed over the years in a better way because
Yes, I
I,
agree.
yeah, I would say
We're
when I was
being much more inclusive now, don't you think?
oh yeah. Oh yeah, and you see more diversity,
More diversity, absolutely.
especially not just culturally, like not just as far as skin tone is concerned either, but even with body image. It's not
Yes.
just like you need to be skin and bones because a lot of us are curvy. And I think that's being embraced a lot more now versus before. So that's really important for, again, the younger generations who are so impressionable to see a variety of different models, to know that I can do this too, even if I'm not, you know, skinny, skinny, skinny,
Yes.
or which is what it used to be, I think, back in the
That's
day.
how I grew up. I grew up with like girls who looked like Kate Moss.
Yeah,
Like, or I think of Twiggy, like that's a little bit before my time, but that was kind of the look back then.
yeah,
And supermodels who are like, I don't know, 8 feet tall and just weigh nothing, like that was the look. And I just thought about it, and it's like they're beautiful, but they're beautiful in an alien way. It's
yeah,
like most folks don't look like that. And
yeah,
for me, I'm not that. I'm more of like realistic looking person, healthy,
mhm,
and what ethnicity is she? So that's marketable. But
yeah,
what I was going to say is modeling has helped me build my confidence, and that has
mhm,
done wonders. That has done wonders for my overall like self-esteem.
yeah,
I will say that it's also torn me down in some ways.
mhm.
I've heard everything. I've had an agent say like, "Hey, you look great, but don't get any more jacked."
Oh, wow,
She told me like, your arms look great, but don't get any bigger. It's going to be too big. And I was just thinking, do you realize how much I love working out? Like, I had just been doing CrossFit for many years, and like, when you hear that, it's like, this is what brings me joy, and your body can't. I don't know. I'm a little befuddled with just remembering that. And the thing is, she didn't have any bad intentions when she said that. I
yeah,
think she was coming from business mind, where she's like, listen, if you want to do fitness only, great, then keep doing what you're doing. But if
yeah,
you want to have that commercial look where I can put you in a lot of different categories and I can generate a lot more income for you, essentially, because guess what? We all need to make money too.
yeah.
Then you might just not want to get too jacked.
What? It's like, okay, I hear you, and I could see how she's not intentionally trying to hurt in any way.
Yeah.
It's hard. That's a hard thing because that's your business, that's your job.
Yeah.
And then there's this other side of what I like working out. And then of course, us being over 40, strength training is really important right now.
Yes, it is.
You know,
It's essential.
it's
It's
easy.
not only for over 40. I think everybody needs to do strength training, but like you said, especially for us.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. So that's it can cause you to be very torn. Very, very torn.
Mhm.
But I've also heard, like I have a few clients who are like, Jamila, I'm going into real estate and I need to be presentable. And so I say, so what does that mean? What does that look like? Well, I
Yeah.
need to lose weight. I need to look the part. And I'm like, okay, we can do that. So I can see how career choices, whatever your business is, can cause people to think, I need to do this, I need to do that with my body. And it's interesting now that I'm kind of saying it out loud. These two female clients said, I need to be presentable and I need to look the part. So the question is, so do you think you won't get business now at your current weight? Or do you think you'll get more business if you lose weight? And where's that coming from? Because both of the ladies think, I have to lose weight. They haven't even gotten to real estate yet, but I have to lose weight so that I can get business consistently. And so I think that's interesting
Yeah,
that
that is.
that mindset is there. I think it's great. I would rather you, like you said, want to be healthy and feel good so that you
Mhm.
can, work in your role effectively because you're going to be walking. You want to be healthy versus I need to look a certain way so I can get business. So,
That's super interesting.
yeah.
It was making me think of folks who are more set on losing X amount of pounds by
Yeah.
a certain date for, let's say, a 40th birthday or their wedding. That's a big one.
Ooh,
Like,
yeah.
I can appreciate that, but I feel like the results are not going to be long term. But
Yep.
I'll take what I can get because I think, like you, we're not just trainers.
Yeah.
We look at the entire person. We
Yeah.
look at their nutrition, we look at their sleep, we look at their stress management, we look at, like, are they fulfilled spiritually and emotionally and mentally, and do they have love in their life? Like, literally all these different aspects, they all matter.
Yeah.
And when you're fixated on these goals that may achieve you short-term success,
Mhm.
if that's what you truly want, then more power to you. I can help you get there. But I'm hoping, I know for me, when I'm training somebody, like, my goal is once they're in, we start examining their whole life.
Oh, yeah.
We start looking at it not from a therapist standpoint. It's more like, hey, like, let's get real. Let's
Yeah.
get real and let me just ask you about what's working in your life and what's not. And
Yeah.
do you want these beautiful results that you've been working so hard for? Do you want them to just go away once you reach your goal, or do you want them to be long lasting? And do you want to see what's possible?
That's it. Longevity,
Yes.
sustainability.
Yes.
When you say that, I was working with this lady. I said, what's your why? I always ask that question, or why now? And she said, I'm getting married. It was like 3 months away. I need to be able to fit into this wedding dress. I want to be beautiful for my wedding day. I said, that's great. Short-term motivation. I said, but then after the wedding, then what? What is the plan? And she said, oh, Jamila, I'm not worried about that right now.
Hmm.
She
She's
said, I'm
just
not.
trying to get through this.
Yeah. She was like, I just want to lose weight for the wedding. I was like, okay, that's fine. We can do that. I said, but I really want you to think a little bit deeper. So yes, she hit her goal for the wedding, but after the wedding was the honeymoon. And then after the honeymoon, they were having a good old time, going out to dinner. She gained all the weight back, Kat.
You know what? It doesn't surprise me.
Yeah.
It
Yeah.
doesn't surprise me. I've seen this happen with so many men and women,
Yeah.
is they will look great in their wedding photo,
Yeah.
but number one, I'm going to put great in quotation marks because great typically equates to thinner than what they are. And the thing is, like, how you achieve that matters. How you achieve that goal matters
Mm.
because, like, I can, this is a really, really crude joke. And I
Yeah.
sometimes say it, and I'll say it now, but somebody's like, how can I lose a lot of weight fast? And I was like, why don't you start doing cocaine or something? And then,
Mm.
like, not eating and then looking like you got your shredded, but because you're all, that's a really, really poor joke. I have dark humor. I apologize.
No,
But,
no.
but it's, but it's like, that's complete opposite of what I stand for. I stand
Yeah.
for the person who's willing to be patient, who's willing to put in the hard work. And I have literally turned down clients before. I've had people come up to me. I'm remembering one woman in particular, and she's like, I don't like how my arms look. And, like, I just want, I want this to go away, just this one thing. And everything around that conversation was just so self-centered and so negative. And I literally said to her, you're not ready for me. You're
Mm.
not ready for the kind of coaching that I will give you.
Yeah.
And she was just blown away, not,
Mm.
probably not stoked about that answer. But I don't care because I'm at this point in my career that I'm only going to work with people who I see are ready for the kind of coaching that I deliver. And
Yeah.
that is, like, you've got to have patience, you've got to have a certain amount of grit, you've got to have willingness, and
Yep.
you've got to be able to put in the work. And at the same time, I 100% want you to be human. Just be
Yeah.
honest with me about what's going on, because I'm human. I eat ramen and I eat way too much salt, and I will put on 6.5 pounds in a day, and I don't make it, it doesn't mean anything. It
Yeah.
just means like, hey, just be more mindful moving forward.
That's
And
it.
so, yeah.
Yes. Be human. Be human,
be
please.
be human.
We're not here to judge you. No,
Literally tell my clients that every time. I'm like, listen, tell me everything. I'm not going to judge you. I have been through it. I go through it. Just because I wear the hat of like personal trainer, holistic health coach, or holistic health practitioner,
yeah.
it doesn't mean that I'm better in any way. I literally chose this profession because, yes, I was able to get some great results. I do have some great strategies, but ultimately, I really want to help people. It just makes me feel really, really good. But I have the exact same struggles. I
Yes.
definitely do all the things. This week in particular has been highly, highly emotionally charged. It's been
Yeah.
stressful. I've been trying to manage all of that.
Yeah.
And on top of that, try and eat well and trying to prioritize my sleep. Everything I tell my clients, you
Yeah.
know, I
Yeah.
have to tell myself. I tell them because I'm also telling myself.
Absolutely. That is so true. Like we definitely, I know I'm definitely not perfect. And I love the fact, I think being a coach helps me stay accountable too. I do love what
Yes.
I do, but it also helps me stay accountable. Like Jamila, you're telling everybody to do this. Well, girl, you better do this too. But it's
Yes.
not always perfect. And I'll circle back to the young lady who wanted to fit into the wedding dress. So she did come back to me and she said, "Oh, Jamila, I gained all the way back." She's like, "I know what you're gonna say. What is your why?" And I said, "Yes. So tell me, what is it now? Have you reflected?" She said, "I reflected." So her why initially was, "I want to fit into my wedding dress," and she changed it to, "Jamila, I want to have children."
Oh,
Yes. And I want my body to be healthy and I want to be able to run around and be active with my children. I said, "That's it." That deeply resonates with you. You can feel it. It emotionally connects to you. And she lost that weight and she has kept it off. It has been
yes.
a whole thing. Yes. So the
Oh
why,
my God, I love that. The why is everything.
it is.
The
It
why
is.
is everything. If it's not rooted in pureness, if it's not real, if it's not something that you've actually like sat with and
Yeah.
confronted,
Yes.
then it might not be your true why. There might be a why underneath it.
Yes. It's like you have to go through layers, kind of like an onion,
Yes.
and keep peeling and peeling. So why? Because I want to fit into the wedding dress. Well, why do you want to fit into the wedding dress? Well, why this? Like you keep peeling until you get to that deep rooted why. And I think when people finally find that deep rooted why, in my experience, and I feel like you've probably experienced this too with your clients, like you were saying earlier, those who have those aha moments and they know why they want to do this thing, it sticks. There's more discipline and consistency with them versus the ones that I've worked with who, and there's nothing wrong or against the short-term motivation if it gets you to where you want to be, but you have to make sure you can push through after that. But those who have the short term, like I want to fit into my wedding dress, I have seen in my experience, it's not sustainable. It doesn't last. They fall back
Hmm.
into bad habits. And so
Yes.
you have to have a why, and it has to be a healthy why, not
Yes.
look good. I want my
Yes.
booty to be nice and this and that, but I want to feel good. I want to
Yes.
feel healthy. I think that's so much more powerful and it resonates a lot deeper with most people. Yeah.
I feel you 100%. I'm like 100% excited about that. And at the same time, I know that not everybody's there yet. And they can start with like, I want a better looking booty or whatever. That's fine. That's
Mhm.
fine. But I'm hoping that they're open to thinking beyond that,
Yeah.
to thinking beyond that. And so I'm hoping that maybe this conversation will inspire at least one person to think beyond just the aesthetics and be like, wow, like this is, it started with me wanting to like have a better looking booty. We'll just go with that because a lot of men and women, a lot of women and men really
Right.
like that goal. But once they achieve it, if they do achieve it, it's like, can it open up doors for other things?
Right.
You know?
Right. What can that
And I
booty
still, what's that?
I said, what can that booty do for you?
Seriously, because I mean, I'm thinking like I did a squat challenge last month
Right.
and it was fabulous. And I'm not going to hate on my ass being more lifted and looking more juicy. I'm never going to be upset about
Right.
that
Of
ever.
course not. Right, right, right.
No, I'm a human being. I like good looking aesthetics too. At the
Yeah.
same time, I love having a strong, powerful butt because I can lift more. My back doesn't hurt as much.
Yep.
You know, I can
Yep.
fit in a pair of pants really well. It's like it sounds so silly, and I love it because it's not all about just like feeling good. It's also about like we want to feel ourselves.
Yeah. Oh, I totally
That's
agree.
part of it.
Yeah. I think it has to be a combo. Yes, we want to look good. Absolutely. I totally feel that too. I like when I see my pictures, I'm like, okay, that's a good one. I like that one. Ooh, those jeans
That's
will
good.
fit nice like a glove in this one. I like that. But then I
Yeah.
think too, I want to feel good because I have felt so tired and just like fatigued and like I can't do anything because a season of my life, obviously, I wasn't getting enough sleep. I wasn't exercising. I was eating whenever I could. Like, whenever I would feed the kids, I would snack on their foods. So, that season of my life, I was so tired and fatigued. And I don't like that. But I may have looked okay. If you
Mm.
had seen me in a picture, I probably looked okay, but I didn't feel good. And so, I'm always telling people, it's so important. Yes, you can look good. I get it. We all want to look the part and we want to look good. But my goodness, when you feel good, oh, that's so much power in to be able to wake up with energy and to feel refreshed and to just feel good in your body and look good too. So it's a
Yes,
win.
you can have both is what you're saying. You can
Absolutely.
have both. It's 100% okay.
Absolutely.
It doesn't have to be one or the other. And in
Yeah.
fact, I think the two can complement each other, where you and I can talk about like the aesthetics and it can be more playful. It's not so serious.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you, as I've adopted a healthier mindset, and listen, when I first got into fitness modeling,
Mhm.
I was definitely a little more insecure because I had never done it before. And, you know, you look at everybody else with the perfect 8 pack abs and you're like, okay, well, who am I? And I have to achieve that. And so you just, you may not do things as healthy. And I tried to do them as healthy as possible. I still ate, I still drink, you know, a lot of water. I
Yeah.
still exercised, but I definitely know I overtrained. I know for sure I overtrained, but I
Yeah.
was doing the best that I could. I'll tell you, being 44 now, still doing fitness modeling, but lots of other styles of modeling as well, more commercial based.
Yeah.
I eat I eat a lot more and I drink a lot of water and I always feel good. I'm
Mm,
never like I'm not the kind of person who can starve myself. I've never had that
yeah.
desire at all. It's just like it's not one of those types of pains I'm willing to deal with. I just need food too much. But on set, I realized this idea of what I think I look like is a little bit skewed. I think that we are our own worst critic. So I
Mm.
could, when somebody looks at me, they may say, like, oh, you look great. And then I would look at myself and be like, Oh, but it's not enough. I don't
Mm-hmm.
look as good as them. And I have changed all that. So when I go on set, like you can see the confidence shine through. And it's mostly because I think it's come from this place of just really accepting myself and knowing I'm doing everything that I can while still having all of these allowances to, be human and indulge every now and then and understand that some nights I'm not going to get good sleep. And sometimes I'm going to be dealing with some serious life stresses and it's all okay. Like
Yeah.
when you come in with that kind of energy, that's the kind of energy people want to be around. Number one, it's not about do they want to be around the prettiest, like most perfect looking human being that has like that's not fulfilled and like that's very apparent. No, people don't want to be around that. They want to be around people who make them feel good.
That's it. You just, there's a quote Maya Angelou has, and I wrote it down because it says, people, I'm sure you've heard it, people will forget what you said, people will forget what you did, but people will never forget how you made them feel.
Yes, I love that quote.
I love that. And I think that is it. It doesn't matter. I know I'm going to have to go back and remember this movie title, but there's a movie about the girl and she hit her head. She was kind of like she was chubby and she had very low confidence, but when she hit her head, she thought she was skinny, but she was still the same exact, but she had this confidence. And she was like walking down the street and she was like strutting and she would be like, psh, like the wind is blowing. And so she was so confident. Everybody's looking at her like, oh my gosh, like they thought she was beautiful. The end of the movie, she hits her head again and she sees herself in the mirror. She was like doing a presentation and she turned around and saw herself, her reflection, and she was like, oh my gosh, like everybody's looking at me. And all of her confidence dropped. And I thought this movie was super powerful because it just goes to show how your mindset and how you think of yourself
Yes.
changes the entire atmosphere, the entire environment.
Yes.
Walking in confidence, everybody was looking at her like, wow, who is this girl? It didn't matter what she looked like or what she thought she looked like.
Yes.
But as soon as that left and she did not have that same confidence, people were like, who is this? Like, why? Who is this girl? So confidence matters. It's
Oh,
huge.
yes, it does. And it doesn't matter what you look like.
It
You
does.
can have confidence no matter what you look like.
That's
I
it.
personally love being around people who are confident. I love it because I love that type of energy. I'm like, I want some of that energy. I want to be
Yes,
confident too. And I feel like it's empowering energy, is it not?
absolutely. And that's what we talked off screen a little bit. We were saying how important it is to have those positive, healthy social connections. Because if you're walking around people who are low confident, low energy, it's very easy for it to rub off on you.
It is.
So having
The
people,
people who we surround ourselves with, they rub off on us.
they do, they do. So being around people who are self-confident, you're self-confident, it just makes it a lot better and much easier for you to walk in that, I think.
It makes it much more easy,
Yeah.
because and it's not like I want to do that all the time because I also like being challenged and I like different experiences. But if I was hanging out with people who are at a lower confidence level or they had negative energy or something like that, then and that was the majority of who I spent my time with, then I'm probably going to be a more negative person. That only makes sense. And
Mhm.
then, a lot of these other negative aspects would come out. I would be more judgmental of other people. I would complain more. I would be more critical of other people, of myself. And it's like a domino effect. So I
Yeah,
think we have to be really mindful of that. I think I want to end with saying that if you want to improve your self-image, of your body and of
yeah,
who you are, some of the things that you could consider is like, what's your environment look like?
that's
Who's
it.
in your space? Who are you spending your time with? A really good friend of mine once said, like, Kat, who do you want to spend your day with?
Mm,
And I don't think that Eric realized how much that one question would have such an impact on my life because it has really influenced who I choose as clients and
Mm,
who I accept into my life. I have
yeah,
so many beautiful people in my life right now. And the thing is, it wasn't always that way.
yeah,
It wasn't always that way.
yeah,
And I think that they're a big reason why I feel so good about myself and why I have such a positive, like, body image. I feel like this plays a huge role in why I feel so good about myself. It's not only just me, it's because I've cultivated an environment of positivity and beautiful, positive, healthy reinforcement.
yes. I love that. I love that. And that environment, I'm telling you, if you really want to live a healthy lifestyle, your environment is huge. It makes so much of a difference. You can go to the bars and to the clubs if that's what you do all the time because of the people you hang around. It's going to be very hard to stay healthy and to change your body image, because if you're drinking a lot of alcohol, for example, that makes it really, really hard on your body. But I would say too, I hope that people take this conversation as loving yourself and loving your body is a form of self-respect. It's a form of self-love. And at the end of the day, I hope people are aiming to feel really good and focusing on the things that matter in life. Um, there's a acronym, SEEDS, SEEDS, that I think is really impactful, and I'll share it real quick. SEEDS. This is the acronym that represents longevity, and S is for sleep. So, improving your body image, you have to get really good sleep. And I think a lot of us are lacking in that. The E is for exercise. The other E is for education. You have to continuously be educating yourself, growing, and checking your mindset. I think that's a really big one. The D is for diet, like really being mindful of what you eat. And then, of course, the last S is for social connections. So I feel like if we can kind of focus on all those areas, that really helps us to change the way we think about ourselves and really live a life that feels good, where we feel healthy and whole. So I think that's it. That's the key. That's the
I
key.
love that you ended with seeds. I'm going to remember that. Um, I appreciate you so much. This has been, there are some discoveries I made about myself through this conversation we've had. So I appreciate you. And I really hope that anybody listening out there, if you got something out of it, leave us a comment. Let us know what you liked. Let us know what you want more of. Share your thoughts, share your own personal experiences. We're here for you. We love you. Jamila, do you have anything you want to say?
I love y'all. And once again, we have good conversations. There's going to be more. I just know it. I mean, there's just going to be
Yes.
more. So I'm looking forward to having more conversations with you. And yeah, let us know, what would you want to hear about? What would you want us to talk about? Because we want to hear from the audience. But yeah, thank you so much for having me. And I'm excited to see how all of our beautiful people who are watching respond to this topic on body image.
Yes. Thank you.